rise and soar, guided by the dreams we wore. From the oceans to the skies, endless fire burns in our eyes. Beyond the stars we chase the light, with fearless hearts through endless nights. No frontier can hold us down, the universe is our playground. Mountains high and oceans deep, secrets in the void we keep. Every step a tale to weave, for those who dare, who still believe. Beyond the stars we chase the light, with fearless hearts through endless nights. No frontier can hold us down, the universe is our playground. Is our playground. Mountains high and oceans deep, secrets in the void we keep. Every step a tale to weave, for those who dare, who still believe. Beyond the stars we chase the light, with fearless hearts through endless night. No frontier can hold us down, the universe is our playground. Echoes call from far away, guiding ships through cosmic sway. With every launch a new sunrise, the quest for knowledge never dies. Beyond the stars we claim the skies, bound by hope that never dies. To worlds unknown we'll make our mark, light flames within the dark.
Three, two, one.
And in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, while our countdown continues to go smoothly, let's take a look at this short video from our customer, Maxar Intelligence.
In a world of constant change, speed matters, accuracy matters, security matters, and timing is everything. That's why we built Worldview Legion. We've already had 2 successful launches that put 4 satellites into our growing constellation, delivering unmatched precision, but our mission wasn't complete. Today's launch adds 2 new satellites and unleashes the full potential. Up to 15 daily revisits of critical locations, 6 million square kilometers of secure imagery, trusted intelligence delivered in near real time when decisions matter most. This isn't just about seeing our world. It's about understanding it, securing it, and shaping a better tomorrow. Worldview Legion, intelligence you can trust, precision you can act on.
Now, at just about T-minus 4.5 minutes, Falcon 9 is tracking no issues, and our payloads continue to be healthy. There's confirmation that Strongback retract has started. The Strongback, or the transporter erector, you can just see on the bottom right-hand side of your screen there. That's the large truss structure next to Falcon 9. And we've been using that in part to help load propellants onboard Falcon 9 since T-minus 35 minutes. We're targeting to finish that fuel loading at T-minus 2 minutes. Now again, the range is ready to support and weather is looking good for our liftoff time today, but if for some reason we do not launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow at 5:42 p.m. Eastern. In just about 10 seconds, we'll have the TE fully reclined away from Falcon 9. The first stage is connected to a launch mount at the base of the TE, and that structure is hinged to allow that retraction away from the rocket in preparation for launch. We've already heard it called the strongback by the launch team over the nets. We use the TE, or the strongback, both to roll the rocket out to the pad and raise it into its vertical launch position. The TE is also what we use to route the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry umbilicals from the ground systems to the rocket and the payload until liftoff. Now, at this point in the countdown, both the first and second stages are nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Both the first and second stage should finish loading propellant about a minute apart from each other. We're standing by for that confirmation on board stage 1.
Stage 1, LOX load complete.
Right on schedule. And we are expecting that fuel completion call for stage 2 at about T-2 minutes. The slight venting that you can hear right now is totally normal. We do periodically vent the chilled gas from above the surface of the LOX tank overboard to maintain pressure in the tank as needed. Ordinarily, during a launch, you can see those white clouds form around the vehicle, but today the best indication that we have that everything is moving ahead smoothly is, of course, the countdown and timeline at the bottom of your screen and those healthy sounds from Falcon 9.
Stage 2, LOX load complete.
There's that confirmation that liquid oxygen loading is complete on board our second stage. The next major milestone we're standing by for will be at T-60 seconds, when Falcon 9 will enter startup mode. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will take over the launch countdown. Then, just inside of T-2 seconds, we'll light those M1D engines for liftoff. At this time, the 2 Worldview Legion satellites continue to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket.
Ground gas closeouts.
Confirmation of gas closeouts from our mission control team. Weather is still looking green, and the range is ready to support our T0 of 6:13 p.m. Eastern. And with that, we are proceeding into the final 1 minute and 10 seconds of our terminal count.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Confirmation of startup mode. And now we are standing by for our launch director to give our final go for launch.
Launch director, go for launch.
So with that, and just under T-40 seconds, all systems are go for the launch of Falcon 9 and our 2 Worldview Legion satellites.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Go Maxar, go Falcon.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
So in case you are just joining us, we are 32 seconds and counting, and Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center, carrying 2 Worldview Legion satellites for Maxar Intelligence. In just a few seconds, we'll throttle the
Power
engines.
and telemetry nominal.
Confirmation there that everything's on the right track. And right now we're preparing to throttle the engines down ahead of max Q, or the period of maximum aerodynamic pressure on the rocket.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
With that call out, we know that Falcon 9 is moving faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
And there's confirmation of max Q. Now, during ascent, we tilt the engines. The technical term for this is called gimbaling, and that turns the rocket horizontally in what we call a gravity turn. Right now, the rocket is still going up, but we're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad. Our rocket
chill.
There's confirmation of MVAC chill on board our second stage. Now, our rocket needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and reach orbit. You can keep an eye on that stage 1 telemetry in the bottom of your screen as we move toward that target insertion speed. Next, we'll have several events coming up in quick succession, and we should hear and see all of those called out by Mission Control, starting with main engine cutoff, or MECO, then stage separation, SES-1, first stage boost back burn, and fairing separation. MECO is where we will shut down all 9 M1D engines on board the first stage, followed quickly thereafter by stage separation, when the first and second stages of Falcon 9 separate from one another, and then we'll turn on
Main
the
engine cutoff.
MVAC engine for the first time.
Confirmed.
MVAC ignition. Stage 1 boost back startup.
So we have great views on your screen right now and confirmation from Mission Control that we've had MECO, Stage SEP, and SES-1. We also heard the call out, and on the left-hand side of your screen, we have great views of our boost back burn, which is what's currently putting the booster on a trajectory to head back toward Earth and touch down at landing zone 1. Next up, the fairing will jettison away from the second stage, as it's no longer needed now that we're in space, and the payloads no longer need that aerothermal protection.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Right on schedule. Those fairing halves are now headed back to Earth to be recovered by our ocean recovery ship, Bob.
Stage 1 boost back shutdown.
And there's confirmation of our Stage 1 boost back burn shutdown. Now, at just about T plus 3.5 minutes into today's mission, the next major milestone we're standing by for is our first stage entry burn. Getting some great views on the left-hand side of your screen of that grid fin deployment right now, too. Those hypersonic grid fins are the primary mechanical mechanism by which we steer the rocket on its way back to Earth.
Nominal trajectories.
Nominal trajectories there for both our first and second stages. Again, in case you are just joining us, right now our first stage is on its way back to landing zone 1 at Kennedy Space Center, while stage 2 is on its way to orbit to deploy 2 Worldview Legion satellites for our customer Maxar Intelligence. To start the entry burn at about T plus 6 minutes, we'll relight the 3 of the M1D engines on board stage 1, starting with the center engine, known as E9, followed shortly after by E1 and E5, which is similar to pumping the brakes to slow down the vehicle as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. We need to slow down to reduce re-entry forces, which then helps us to recover and reuse that first stage. During the entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing those Merlin engines, but we're still moving really fast. This causes the vehicle to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases. Great views of it on your screen there right now. Those exhaust gases are also known as the rocket's plume. That in turn deposits a layer of soot on the vehicle surface. The soot comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses, and with each flight, the soot builds up a little more on the outside of the vehicle, giving it that flight-proven look. We are standing by with these incredible tracking shots for that entry burn begin at T plus 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Of course, reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, which enables more investments in critical scientific research. The Falcon 9 first stage supporting today's mission is about to perform this entry burn for the 4th time. And of course, meanwhile, up in space, our stage 2 continues to look good, and we'll keep bringing you those MVAC engine views as we have them.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There's confirmation of entry burn begin.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And
Stage 1
confirmation
FTS is saved.
of entry burn shutdown. The engines on board the first and second stage are actually pretty similar. They're just optimized differently. The Merlins on the first stage are optimized for sea level, and these achieve 190,000 pounds of thrust each during both ascent and descent. At liftoff, Falcon 9's first stage has thrust greater than 5 747 airplanes at full power. The MVAC engine, which we
Nominal
have
trajectories.
a great view of on the right-hand side of your screen, and confirmation there that everything's on a nominal trajectory, has a much wider
Stage
nozzle.
1 transonic.
That wider nozzle allows us to be optimized to 220,500 pounds of thrust in the vacuum of space.
Stage 2 terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
We're hearing that sonic boom of
Stage
re-entry.
1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And confirmation that our Falcon 9
MVAC
booster
shutdown.
has touched back down on landing zone 1 at Kennedy Space Center, and that we have had successful MVAC shutdown on board stage 2. This was the 4th launch and landing for this first stage, and this landing marks SpaceX's 404th recovery of a SpaceX orbital class rocket, including
Nominal orbit insertion.
first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. And with that confirmation, we also know that stage 2 is on a good orbit up in space. So with that, stage 2 is embarking on its first coast phase, after which the MVAC engine will relight for a second time at about T plus 43 minutes. That will be followed by our first payload deploy today. We're going to take a break and leave you with some nice space tunes, but we'll see you back here in about 30 minutes.